When Heart Beats Gold. Chapter 1. Lightning on Madison Street. One phone call blew the lid off Elijah Carter's night before the thunder even rolled. Eli, the grid just fried again, whole blocks darker than a preacher's shoes at midnight. Get your toolbox and haul. Click. No hello, no goodbye. Typical. Elijah dashed out of his basement apartment, boots slapping puddles, tool bag banging his hip like an angry tambourine. A summer storm slapped Brookside, Mississippi sideways, rain so hard it felt personal. Neon signs on Madison Street flickered like somebody yanked their power cords in and out for fun. "Come on, Sky, chill," he yelled at the clouds, getting a face full of water for his trouble. A jagged bolt split the darkness, lit up the storefronts in ghostly blue, then, boom, snapped a rusty streetlight clean off. The lamp top spun down like a crooked frisbee and clanged beside him. Cracked glass showered the asphalt. But something else hit too. An old copper key tied with a strip of sun-faded kente cloth. Elijah stared. Seriously? Who drops a Pirates of the Caribbean prop in the middle of a blackout? He was soaked, cold, and late, but curiosity bit harder than the rain. He tossed the key in his pocket and sprinted on. Half the block was out. Ruth's corner store sat dark except for a single candle flickering behind the dusty glass. Inside, his Grandma Ruth, 79, barely 5 feet, pure steel, paced the aisle. Phone clutched like a dagger. The second Elijah crossed the threshold, she popped him on the shoulder. "Boy, you got wings now? You flew here?" He wiped his face. "More like swam." He started for the breaker panel and back, but Grandma spotted the wet kente cloth peeking out his jeans. Her eyes went wide as supermarket pies. "Where'd you snatch that?" "Street gave it to me. Figured it was trash." Trash don't burn like that." She grabbed his wrist. The key felt warm, almost humming. Outside, thunder cracked so loud the windows rattled. Ruth's gaze softened, memories bubbling up like hot gumbo. "That key," she whispered, "looks just like the one my daddy swore could unlock either a blessing or a curse. Dependent on the soul holding it." Elijah laughed, half nervous, half amused. "Granny, I fix wires, not fairy tales." A car horn blared. Tires hissed to a stop out front. Deshaun Big Shot Bishop, real estate mogul, pinch smile permanent, stepped out of a charcoal Escalade, slick suit dry as the Sahara. 2 umbrella-holding goons flanked him. Bishop leaned in the doorway like he owned the oxygen. "Evening, Ms. Ruth. Eli, my guy. Word is the city code hearings got bumped to Thursday. You and me gotta talk business. I got opportunities that'll change your life faster than a TikTok trend." He flashed a smile so bright it could tan paint. Elijah's stomach flipped. He knew Bishop's reputation. Money first, souls later, maybe. But he also knew his own bills were piling up like junk mail. Ruth folded her arms. "My life's fine where it is, Deshaun." Bishop raised a brow. "Ain't talking to you, ma'am." Elijah tensed. "Yo, show some respect." Bishop chuckled, hands up. "All love, Grandma. Eli, swing by my office after this fix. We'll chat. Big pay, minimal sweat. Don't keep opportunity waiting." Lightning flashed again. Bishop's gold cufflinks threw spears of light around the shop. Elijah felt the copper key heat like a fresh cookie sheet. He swallowed. Something about Bishop's grin and the key's burn tangled together made the tiny hairs on his arm stand up and salute. "Maybe," Elijah muttered. "Make it yes," Bishop shot back. "Clock's ticking." He tapped his watch, snapped his fingers, and disappeared into the rain, leaving the scent of expensive cologne and cheap promises. Grandma Ruth exhaled slow. "That man's got shark eyes, child." Sharks make money, Elijah joked, though his voice wobbled. Yeah, till they bite off your legs. Elijah pried open the breaker panel. Sparks spat, wires hissed like angry cats, and the copper key burned hotter against his thigh. Rain hammered the tin roof. Thunder boomed so hard canned beans rattled on the shelves. As he reconnected the final line, the lights blazed back to life. Ruth watched him, pride and worry wrestling behind her glasses. Remember, boy, easy gold often hides a trap. He forced a grin. Grandma, I got this. Storm's just noise. Yet deep inside, Elijah felt the key's warmth slide into his chest like a warning brand. Outside, Bishop's taillights faded down Madison Street. Somewhere beyond the thunder, the phone that started it all buzzed again, ringing like a dare he couldn't ignore. Chapter 2. Grandma Ruth's Whisper. Elijah jolted awake the next morning to the smell of chicory coffee and gospel humming from the kitchen. Sunlight smeared gold over the cracked linoleum, and rainwater drummed a lazy after-storm rhythm on the gutters. For half a second, life felt normal. Then the copper key, still warm in his pocket, jabbed his hip like it wanted an encore. In the kitchen, Grandma Ruth stirred oatmeal as if it owed her rent. Boy, that phone of yours been buzzing since dawn, buzzing like a gnat at a picnic. She didn't look up, but Elijah caught the side eye. He checked the screen. 5 missed calls from Bishop, 3 texts. Yo, Eli, opportunity's knocking. Let's get rich. Elijah snorted. Dude's thirsty. Ruth slid a bowl his way. Thirsty folk dive headfirst in shallow water. They break their fool necks. Elijah dipped his spoon, tasted cinnamon in quiet judgment. Granny, I'm just listening. Guy's offering real money. Ruth set her spoon down, palms flat. I seen men trade their birthright for a bowl of soup cheaper than this. Don't be that kind of hungry. Before Elijah could joke it off, the screen door creaked and Maya Harris breezed in, rain boots squeaking. She smelled of wet roses and coffee house vanilla. Morning, Ms. Ruth. Eli, you alive or what? City Council rescheduled the hearing to next Friday. We need witness statements, electrical inspections. She froze, spotting the key twirling on Elijah's finger. Is that a... Elijah shrugged. Street souvenir. Maya's brow knitted. My grandma told stories about a freedom key. Said it chose folks in our neighborhood to protect the block. Thought it was just bedtime hype. Elijah laughed. Great. Now I'm Harry Potter with a Home Depot tool belt. Maya didn't smile back. Magic or no, Bishop's prowling. He offered my uncle $5,000 to sign away his barbershop lease. Folks are scared. Ruth tapped the table for silence. Sit, child. Let an old woman spin a yarn. The air shifted. Sunlight dimmed. Wind rattled the shutters like curious fingers. Ruth's voice slid low, rich as molasses. Long time ago, when cotton still bled this land, our ancestor Josiah Carter forged that key from scrap chains. He prayed over it, said any soul holding the key faced 2 doors, one to greed, one to grace. Josiah died free, but the key pops up when the block's in mortal trouble. Maya rubbed her arms. Looks like trouble's on time. Elijah twirled the key again, trying to hide his goosebumps. Legend's cute, but we got real problems. Bills, code violations, busted roofs. Bishop flashes cash. City Hall listens, end of story. Ruth's spoon clanged the pot. End? Child, stories don't end, they bend. She fixed him with eyes sharp as roofing nails. Keys unlock what courage pushes. A car horn barked outside, short, impatient. Elijah peeked through the blinds. Bishop's Escalade idled at the curb, chrome rims spinning like lazy halos. Bishop leaned on the hood, scrolling his phone, smiling at his own reflection. Maya groaned. Guy shows up unannounced like a bad pop-up ad. Elijah grabbed his jacket. I'll shut him up, then get to the wiring job on Cherry Street. Ruth pointed a wooden spoon at him. Take the key. But remember, whichever door you choose swings open for more than just you. Outside, Mississippi heat rose off the pavement in greasy waves. Bishop clapped like Elijah just won a game show. There he is, my man of the hour. Hop in. Got a breakfast meeting uptown, bacon, eggs, and big checks. Elijah stayed on the sidewalk. Say what you gotta say right here. Bishop chuckled, low and syrupy. All right, straight to the meat. I need an expert witness to confirm those houses on Maple are structurally done. You're the local hero electrician. People trust you. Sign off and I wire 10 grand to your account by sunset. Easy bread, man. Grandma gets a new roof. You pay off those student loans, maybe buy yourself a truck that ain't held together with duct tape. Elijah felt the key heat through his jeans. The offer smelled sweet like funnel cake, but underneath something rotted. He pictured Maple Street's paint-peeling porches, kids playing double dutch under busted streetlights, Ruth handing out homemade popsicles every July. He forced a grin. Maple homes ain't condemned. They're just tired. You fix a fuse box, paint a wall, boom, they're good. Bishop's jaw tightened a hair. Opportunity knocks, Carter. Don't deadbolt the door. A gust of wind flipped Elijah's collar. The key throbbed like a second heartbeat. He heard Ruth's voice in his head. Keys unlock what courage pushes. He stepped back. How about this? My crew inspects the houses. If they're toast, I'll say it straight. If they're sound, you back off and fund repairs. Bishop's laugh grated like gravel in a blender. You think you're negotiating? Son, I own the chessboard. Maya's voice cut through the tension. She'd followed him outside, arms crossed. Maybe you bought the board, but we're the pieces and we ain't moving. Neighbors peeked from porches. Bishop noticed the watching eyes and slid his smile back on. Cool, cool, inspection it is. Clock's ticking, hero. He tapped Elijah's chest right over the key, then slipped into the Escalade, tires spitting rainwater as he peeled off. Elijah exhaled hard. Maya nudged him. That key's burning a hole, huh? He half smiled. Feels like it's steering the ship and I'm just along for the ride. Thunder rumbled, distant, promise or threat he couldn't tell. Behind them, Ruth watched from the porch, her lips moving in a silent prayer older than any city code. And as the storm clouds regrouped on the horizon, Elijah wondered which door he'd just nudged open, and who might be standing on the other side. Chapter 3. The Door of Easy Money. Elijah's phone pinged a fresh text at noon. Yo, hero limo's out front. Time to make that paper. The man barely pocketed his sandwich before a pearl-white Lincoln pulled up, driver in sunglasses nodding like this was normal. You sure this ain't a wedding car? Elijah stood as Maya hustled over, clipboard in hand. She eyed the ride like it was a snake in Sunday shoes. Inspection crew's supposed to meet us on Maple, she said. Not hop in Bishop's luxury Uber. Elijah bumped her shoulder. Relax. Free AC. He swung the back door open. Bam! Hook number 1. Inside was Bishop himself, legs crossed, scrolling stocks like he owned the alphabet. Clock's ticking, Bishop said without looking up. Y'all coming or what? Maya hesitated, but Elijah tugged her in. The leather smelled expensive, the kind that makes you talk softer. Bishop grinned. Welcome to the express lane, kids. Grab a bottle, Sparkling mango water, 0 calories, 99% ego. They rolled past red brick bungalows, then glided downtown where glass towers stabbed the sun. Bishop pointed at a rooftop lounge 30 floors up. Lunch first, business later. The elevator doors slid open onto a ski-high paradise. Green walls, infinity pool, DJ spinning summer vibes. Elijah's jaw hit the floor. Waiters floated by with mini tacos, each one priced higher than his light bill. Maya whispered, "We're here to check wiring, not collect frequent flyer miles." Elijah tried to shrug casual, but the copper key in his pocket felt like a branding iron. Bishop clinked a glass. "Eli, ever tasted success?" "Thought it came in ramen flavor," Elijah said, earning a laugh from the DJ. Bishop motioned them to a corner booth. He handed Elijah a slim folder marked urgent. Inside, glossy photos of Maple Street homes, but these pics were doctored. Walls cracked like eggshells, mold blooming in cartoon green. Maya frowned. "I was on Maple yesterday. Houses ain't nowhere near this busted." Bishop spread his arms. "Perspective, darling. The city sees blight. I see opportunity. Sign off on those photos, confirm structural danger, and the council greenlights demolition. Then we rebuild. New condos, new jobs, everybody wins." "Everybody," Elijah echoed. "Everybody important." Bishop's smile thinned. "Folks on Maple can relocate. World keeps spinning." Elijah ran a thumb over the folder's slick edge. 10 grand for a lie. Grandma's roof fixed. Student loans erased. Maybe even that used F-150 he drooled over. The skyline glinted like 1,000 yeses. Lightning cracked clear blue sky. No storm, just that eerie pop, and every light on the rooftop flickered. The DJ's track hiccuped. Patrons gasped. Elijah's hand shot to his pocket. The copper key practically buzzed. "Chill, generator will kick in," Bishop muttered, tapping his phone. Nothing obeyed. Elijah spotted a fuse box behind a planter. Instinct took over. He yanked the cover, tightened a loose lug, and power snapped back. Applause rippled across the deck. A kid yelled, "Yo, superhero!" Bishop plastered on pride he didn't feel. "See? The man's magic. Sign that folder and we'll light up half the state, brother." Elijah met Maya's eyes. She didn't beg, just believed. In that split second, he saw Maple kids playing chalk games, smelling Ruth's peach cobbler drifting down the block. He saw condos rising like cold monuments over memories. The key cooled, waiting. He closed the folder. "I'll inspect the real houses tomorrow, 9 a.m. You're welcome to watch." Bishop's jaw set like wet cement. "Tomorrow's too late. Investors want ink tonight." "Then tell 'em patience is a virtue," Elijah said, standing. Maya stood too. "And virtues don't come with appetizers." Bishop's voice dropped glacial. "Son, don't trade destiny for pocket change." Elijah tossed the folder on the table. "Who said destiny's up for sale?" Bishop snapped his fingers. The driver appeared, stone-faced. "Take Mr. Carter wherever he wants. And remember, Eli, doors close fast in this town." Elevator ride down felt longer than a church sermon. Maya exhaled. "Thought he'd toss us off the roof." Elijah forced a grin. "Nah, I don't bounce well." On the street, the humid air wrapped them like wet cotton. Sirens wailed distant, cicadas buzzed their summer beat. Maya nudged him. "Tomorrow, 9. Don't sleep through your revolution," and he watched her walk off, heart thumping like a broken drum. The limo idled by the curb, driver tapping the wheel, Bishop's shadow still offering shortcuts. Elijah fingered the copper key, hearing Ruth's warning echo beneath the traffic hum. Some doors glittered, some doors growled, and one door, the hardest one, waited on Maple Street at sunrise. Chapter 4, the door of hard truth flashbulbs popped the moment Elijah stepped onto the marble steps of Brookside City Hall, like he'd wandered onto a budget red carpet. Reporters hollered questions, mostly about Bishop's shiny new condo pitch, but Elijah just tugged his ball cap lower and kept climbing. The copper key in his pocket pulsed warm like a heartbeat that refused to chill. Inside, the council chamber buzzed louder than a barbershop on Friday. Ceiling fans creaked overhead, pushing stale June air that smelled of cheap perfume, nervous sweat and overcooked collard greens from the cafeteria downstairs. Bishop lounged in the front row, grinning like the cat who paid the mouse's rent. His tailored suit glimmered sky blue under the fluorescent lights. His diamond cufflinks flashed SOS signals only Elijah seemed to read. Maya slid into the seat beside Elijah, notebook ready, curls pulled back but rebellious strands framing her face. "You got this," she whispered. "Just tell the truth. No improvising, no hero speeches." Elijah forced a smile. "Truth only. Scouts honor. Though I got kicked out of Scouts after 2 weeks. A gavel cracked. Council President Lorraine Jacobs, a woman with eyebrows sharp enough to peel oranges, called the hearing to order. Next item, proposed condemnation of houses on Maple Street, submitted by Bishop Development Group. Bishop stood, voice smooth as fresh butter. "Madam President, these structures are dangerous. My company will replace them with safe, affordable housing." He shot Elijah a look that said, "Affordable for whom, bro?" Jacobs nodded. "Our electrical witness, Mr. Elijah Carter, will testify." Every head twisted toward him like turning the same uneasy thought. Could a neighborhood's fate really hang on one scruffy electrician? Elijah adjusted the mic. "Ma'am, council members, I inspected the homes this morning. Yeah, they've seen better days like my Zorro 9 pickup, but they're wiring solid, foundations tight. With minor repairs, they'll stand another 100 years. Murmurs rippled. Bishop stood again, voice syrupy sweet. "May I present photographic evidence?" His lawyer flashed the doctored images on a giant screen, shattered beams, mold explosions, wiring that looked like Medusa on a caffeine rush. Gasps filled the hall. Elijah's stomach dropped. Those lies looked truer than his own memories. He stepped closer. "Those pictures ain't Maple. Somebody photoshopped the neighborhood straight into a horror movie." Bishop spread his hands. "Are you implying fraud, Mr. Carter?" Elijah answered, louder than he felt brave. "I'm stating fact. Those homes are livable. Families been there 3 generations. Tear 'em down, you tear out their hearts." Bishop's smile cracked like cheap veneer. He leaned toward the dais. "Mr. Carter has a covenantal relationship with certain residents. His testimony is compromised." Maya shot up. "That's a lie." Jacobs hammered the gavel. "Order!" She fixed Bishop with a stare colder than leftover grits. "Mr. Carter, any conflict of interest?" Elijah swallowed. The key scorched his thigh now. Ruth's voice whispered in his skull, "Keys unlock what courage pushes." He breathed deep. "Only conflict is between truth and theft. I choose truth," Bishop snapped. "Counsel, this is a delay tactic. I've invested millions." "Millions ain't a permission slip," Elijah cut in, surprising himself. "If money's your bulldozer, I'm the speed bump." The room erupted. Half cheers, half outrage. Council President Trigubs banged her gavel like she was tenderizing steak. "Enough! Vote time!" Hands raised. Yes, yes. No, yes, no." The tally tied 5-5. Jacob sighed, then lifted her own hand in a decisive no. Motion failed. Maple Street stood, for now. Bishop's face drained like someone unplugged his ego. He leaned close, voice a snake bite. You just signed your poverty papers, Carter. Doors close fast. Elijah stepped back, keyed up but steady. Good, I'll build new doors. Council adjourned. Reporters swarmed. Elijah felt dizzy until Maya grabbed his hand. You did it, she breathed, eyes bright. For a charged second, the chamber noise faded, like the universe held its breath. He squeezed her fingers, sparks shooting up his arm. Then a flashbulb popped, and they let go, grinning like kids who'd almost kissed at recess. Outside, thunderheads rolled in again, bruised purple against Mississippi sky. Bishop's Escalade waited at the curb, engine growling. He glared through the tinted window, then sped off, leaving tire smoke and a promise of payback. Elijah exhaled hard, shoulders finally dropping. The key cooled, but its weight remained, a reminder that truth cost and the bill wasn't paid yet. Maya nudged him. Storm's coming, hero. He chuckled, rain starting to pepper his jacket. Let it. I got wires, nails, and a whole block of folks ready to swing hammers. We'll weather it. As they hustled toward Ruth's store, wind whipping their clothes, Elijah felt the neighborhood watching, porch lights blinking on like fireflies waiting for the next chapter. And somewhere deep in the night sky, lightning stitched silver seams, promising that every storm, like every lie, eventually split wide open to daylight. Chapter 5. When the seed sprouted. Elijah jerked awake to sirens wailing down Madison like angry jazz horns. He threw on jeans inside out, dashed to the porch and froze. Half the block glowed fire engine red. Not flames, thank God, but police cruisers boxed in Bishop's Escalade. Officers hauled out laptops, binders, even a velvet bag that jingled. Bishop himself stood handcuffed, hair still perfect, yelling about clerical errors while cameras ate him alive. Grandma Ruth whispered, "A storm uproots rotten trees." Maya arrived breathless, phone streaming local news. Anonymous files dropped last night, fake inspections, forged photos, money laundering. Looks like somebody left Bishop's closet door wide open. She gave Elijah a look half proud, half suspicious, as if wondering whether the key in his pocket could type emails. City Hall asked Elijah to meet them noon sharp. Folks gathered on porches, trading theories along with sweet tea. Clouds cleared, cicadas cranked their amps, and somebody yelled, "Maple Street's free, baby." Laughter bubbled, but Elijah's gut stayed knotted. Victories this loud usually came with fine print. At noon, he and Maya stepped into Council President Jacobs' office. It smelled of lemon polish and battle stress. Jacobs waved a folder. "Morning, hero. With Bishop toast, we need a certified plan to rehab Maple. Grants exist, but the city can't act without clear land ownership. Your grandmother mentioned an old rec center deed." Elijah frowned. "I thought that place was condemned in the 80s. Jacob slid him a brittle envelope, wax seal broken decades ago. Archives dug this up at 3 a.m. Deed says the property transfers to the defender of Madison Street whenever danger threatens the block. She smiled like she finally got a decent cup of coffee. "Legend fits you, son." Grandma Ruth once called the rec center the heart of the neighborhood, shut since he was 5. He glanced at Maya, sparks dancing between them. She mouthed, "You already know what to do." They hightailed it there, past yaupon bushes buzzing with bees. The rec center doors sagged, chain rusted. Elijah lifted the copper key, pulse thudding. One twist, clank, the chain fell like cheap jewelry. Door swung inward, coughing dust motes into sunlight. Inside smelled of old sweat, wood polish, and ghostly laughter. Basketball hoops drooped sad, but the hardwood still gleamed under grime. Hook 4. In the locker room, hidden behind warped paneling, they found a padlocked steel chest. Key fit like it had waited a century. Lid creaked open, revealing vintage uniforms, signed baseballs, and boom! Original deed papers plus a modest trust fund started by Josiah Carter's church way back. Maya's eyes shimmered. Elijah, this seed's been waiting for the right gardener. He chuckled, voice cracking from awe. Guess I better buy gloves. Word traveled at warp speed. By dinner time, neighbors marched in carrying paint cans, extension cords, slow cookers full of gumbo. Reunion/construction crew. Hook 5. A TV van rolled up. Reporter shouting questions, but Elijah ignored cameras, grabbed a sledgehammer, and busted through a moldy drywall panel to cheers. Kids spray-painted future court lines in neon chalk. Elderly Mr. Brooks tuned an old radio. Otis Redding floated across rafters, serenading new beginnings. Romance snuck between hammer beats. Elijah climbed a ladder to rewire lights. Maya steadied it, teasing, "Drop that socket and I'm charging by the hour." He smirked. "Girl, you couldn't afford me." Then nearly slipped when she winked back. Laughter echoed warm as July asphalt. Night settled velvet blue. Strands of cafe lights flickered on, courtesy of Elijah's fresh wiring. Hook 6. Ruth stood center court, eyes wet. Boy, look what a seed can do when rain finally quits. She pressed the copper key into Maya's palm. "Stewardship ain't a solo gig," Maya gasped. Elijah's heart sprinted. He covered her fingers, feeling that hum, a promise welding two pulses together. Fireflies drifted through broken windows like tiny flashbulbs blessing the scene. But every seed draws crows. Across the street, a black sedan idled, silhouette of a man on the phone. Bishop's empire might have collapsed, but money had cousins. Elijah met the shadow's stare, chills knifing through summer heat. The key cooled, settling like armor against his thigh. Under the glow of fresh lights and simmering gumbo, the block celebrated. Yet Elijah understood the night's true harvest. When a seed sprouted, roots pushed deep, but storms loved new growth best. And somewhere beyond the music, thunder whispered it wasn't done with him yet. Chapter 6. 2 doors, 1 heart. The day of the grand opening broke clear and gold, but Elijah woke to a text. Big shot Bishop escaped bail. Rumor said he aimed to crash the celebration. Elijah's thumb hovered over the screen, heart drumming a solo. He pictured kids lined up for free haircuts in the rec center, Grandma Ruth mixing lemonade like liquid sunshine, Maya rehearsing her ribbon-cutting speech. Fear tried to slide in, but the copper key against his chest felt steady as bedrock. He rolled up to the center in his dented pickup, greeted by a block reborn. Fresh murals splashed blues and yellows up the brick walls, portraits of neighborhood legends, raised fists, blooming magnolias. Gospel and hip-hop melded over rented speakers, scent of smoked ribs tangled with honeysuckle on the breeze. Folks sported maple-strong T-shirts, smiling like they'd already won life's lottery. Bishop's cousin Clyde Slick Butler flashed a grin alligator-wide. "Nice party, Carter. Shame if the power went out mid-speech." He flicked a lighter, let the flame dance. "Accidents happen." Elijah leaned in, voice calm. "Accidents sure do, but see that pole?" He pointed to a brand-new utility box gleaming beside the sidewalk. "All wiring underground now. Stormproof, foolproof, cousin-proof. Best spend that lighter on a candlelit bath. Clyde's grin cracked. You think you beat money? Elijah shrugged. Didn't beat it, just stopped kneeling to it. He patted the hood twice like dismissing a stray dog. Clyde cursed, peeled off, tires squealing a tantrum. Hook 3, threat neutralized, but adrenaline lingered. Inside, sunlight streamed through restored skylights, catching dust motes that floated like confetti. Kids dribbled new basketballs, their sneakers squeaking joyous noise. Elder women organized a quilting corner by the windows. Teens lined up at the recording booth Maya set up with donated gear. The whole building thumped with purpose. At noon, Council President Jacobs took the stage, microphone squealing once then obeying. Brookside presents Ruth's Garden House dedicated to community guardians past and present. She gestured to Elijah, Grandma Ruth, and Maya. Applause thundered, cameras clicked, and Elijah felt his knees wobble. Maya stepped up next. Hook 4. She told the crowd how strength isn't loud until it lifts others, how love can be wired into buildings the way current runs through copper. Her voice trembled only once, when she thanked one stubborn electrician who chose neighbors over shortcuts. She glanced at Elijah, cheeks glowing warmer than July asphalt. Ribbon time. Grandma Ruth produced the copper key, looped now on a woven chain. She placed it around Elijah's neck, then placed his hand over Maya's on the ribbon-cutting scissors. Keys work better when two hands guide them, she said, eyes twinkling. Blades snipped, cheers erupted, gospel choir burst into This Little Light of Mine. But there was nothing little about the shine flooding that room. Hook 5, lights flickered, just for a breath, and Elijah's heart tripped. Then every bulb blazed brighter, as if the building itself laughed at the scare. Sneaky Clyde must have tried a last-minute stunt. The fail-safe circuits roasted his mischief before it sparked. The crowd never knew. Elijah exhaled a silent thank you to Josiah Carter's old prayers humming through the wires. Later, as kids chased balloons across the new court, Elijah found Maya on the rooftop garden. Sunset smeared tangerine over the horizon, crickets warming up for their night set. Tomato vines climbed trellises, already shooting first blossoms. Hook 6. Elijah pulled the key from his chest, placed it in her palm. Maya, every door this thing opened showed me I was scared of the wrong locks. I don't need keys to buildings half as much as I need the one to your crazy, brave heart. She laughed. Light, surprised, a bell rung for the very first time. Boy, that line's so corny I could pop it, but it's sweet. She wrapped the chain around both their hands. Doors swing easier when two folks push. Then she kissed him, soft, sure, tasting of lemon ice and promise. Below, the choir hit a high note that floated all the way up, like heaven eavesdropping. Fireflies winked around them, tiny streetlights blessing the moment. Elijah felt the copper cool between their joined hands, not empty but resting, mission complete. And the moral settled over the block like evening dew. When a single key can swing toward greed or grace, the heart that holds it decides which door stays open and who walks through beside them.